Hello everyone, my name is Apalak and welcome to yet another episode of Tech This Week. So we at Think Teal, try to cover areas of technology which are topical, where we talk about not only just technology but also the application of technology in our day-to-day lives and across industries, right? And so because of that, I thought why not talk about the role and impact of technology on something that has caught uh, every Indian's fancy right now, which is elections. So general elections are around the corner. Everybody seems to have their pick. There are a lot of debates going on, right? I try to be as much apolitical as possible, but then you cannot deny the impact of technology in today's electoral process. So in today's episode, the idea is to delve a little bit into, you know, uh, what are some of the emerged, and soon to be important trends in the world of elections. Uh, Obviously, when we talk about any technology, there are bound to be, advantages of using technology and pitfalls of using technology. So let me give an attempt to this. I know it's an interesting area. It's gripped the imagination of the entire country. A lot of big nations globally are in for elections. India has its countdown rolling in, right? So when I start my conversation, I'll probably focus first with emerged technology, right? So as you're aware, India has very successfully used EVMs, which are electronic voting machines. They have significantly cut down the entire time to collate and make the process completely paperless, right? So the possibility of errors and fraud associated with traditional paper ballots has been taken care of completely. So in EVMs, you can see how technology has helped in making this entire process much more seamless. Not only EVM, but we've seen in some form or the other, social media platforms, mobile applications, analytics, and data visualization tools uh, have, in some form or the other, impacted how we conduct our elections. Right? Then comes to what we call as a hot area of technology or the emerging trends. Things that we see are soon going to capture the way elections are taking place, starting with drones. We've seen globally, police and other law enforcement agencies using drone technology, comb politically sensitive areas and detect unusual activities. We haven't seen so much of drones being used as far as Indian electoral process go, but we expect that to be reality in the upcoming elections, or at least the ones which are going to follow soon, right? Then we have something called a video walls, where security agencies set up these war rooms or command centers where they can install these large video walls to monitor situation and alert concerned authorities. Then this is the IPL season, and I'm sure many of you would have seen the use of holograms, right? Where during a match, before the match or the post-match analysis, where you can see cricketing experts locating different locations appearing on screen as if they were in the studio, right? So we've seen the use of holograms in past elections as well, but we see a more pronounced use of holograms, and I think this is one of the most compelling technology solutions as far as electoral process go, because given the extent of the electoral process, the length and breadth of the country that we have, having access to a technology like hologram will make it so much easier for all political parties to spread their word across to varying parts of the country, right? And then to a certain extent, we've also seen the use of artificial intelligence. Political parties are trying to employ AI to translate speeches in real time and telecast to different regions. So just imagine now you punctuate or the entire concept of artificial intelligence with holograms. So you have one political leader, whose hologram is gone to 10 areas, and all those 10 areas conveying the same message, albeit in different vernacular languages. So that is where we see, the influence of technology shaping the electoral process. But as far as future possibilities go, we also expect, lot to change. For instance, in my opinion, one of the key reasons for low turnout across the globe, not only India, we've seen not the highest turnout. I mean, we've never seen 100% turnout in any part of the world. And one of the reasons is the fact that nobody wants to wait for these long queues to go and cast their ballot. But as we all know, voting is a fundamental right in a democracy, right? So imagine if you had something like a biometric voting, where all you need to do is you have your fingerprint or your iris or your face becomes your voter ID, right? You can cast your vote by just opening an application or maybe on your laptop or so on and so forth. These are some of the possibilities that probably I can think of, right? And these are possibilities which actually make the electoral process much more impactful. But imagine right now where we're talking about electoral process where the number of, in terms of pure percentages, we see turnout ranging from 55 to 60%, at times even lesser than that. Imagine that getting to 80%, 90% more than that. That will definitely have a significant impact of what the nation really wants out of the political leader. Then no discussion in today's world is without AI or generative AI. So, by just studying, historical voting patterns or analyzing data, we can accurately predict the election outcomes. Yes, is that risky? And I'll come to that. It is risky, but it depends on how you view things. Then also one more very interesting area of technology, which is blockchain. The blockchain fundamentally, as you all know, can make many processes tamper-proof. But that is by nature, blockchain, the way it is orchestrated, it makes the fudging of data almost redundant, right? So this can help us in conducting free and fair elections, right? Then you have, technology like VR and AR, where you can create, virtual polling booths that will help you achieve, go to remote areas without actually physically being present there. So a lot of things. For example, you can also help educate new, citizens in terms of what are the do's and don'ts as far as voting goes and so on and so forth. Having said so, there will always be a downside to technology, right? In fact, given the fact that we are up almost at our arm's length as far as the Indian election process, it's already rolling a lot of political parties canvassing left, right, and center, right? So a recent news, I'm sure, probably would have captured your attention, where Microsoft, clearly stated that China will try to use AI to influence the outcomes in elections in US, South Korea, and India, right? So Microsoft clearly said that we are at a bare minimum cost seeing China create and distribute through social media AI-generated content that will benefit their positions as far as high-profile elections go, right? Then in the past, we've seen the disadvantages of data harvesting. The most popular example being what we saw Cambridge Analytica did. They were in the news for all the wrong reasons, right? They had allegedly harvested more than 50 million users of Facebook without their consent, and which kind of tried to influence the electoral outcomes in India, right? Then imagine we also have challenges around, if you remember, if you followed us closely, we've spoken about the harmful impact or the real-time scales impacts of deepfakes. Because deepfakes are so real these days, it's very difficult to distinguish between what is reality and what is virtual. imagine, there is a deepfake in circulation by a political leader promoting a lot of harm. These are some of the risks that are entailed, right? And when we speak about, the entire electoral process going online, while yes, in terms of reach, it's going to be brilliant. But imagine what if the systems get hacked, right? The chances of systems getting hacked, if it is an online process, would always be there. It cannot be negated completely, right? So you can have, state-sponsored hackers try to infiltrate networks and disrupt the entire electoral process, which puts not only the nation at risk, but also puts a democracy that we're trying to protect and uphold at risk completely. So to conclude, I mean, is it fair for me to say that we can do without technology? I don't think that's the uphill task. I mean, we have to embrace technology as it is. But I think this is my 2 pence on this. If you think, go to the core foundation of what these two things are. Technology, by the very definition of the term, is an enabler. It helps people, or it helps humans do things in a better fashion. It could be swifter, quicker, in a more secure manner, right? Uh, as far as elections go, when we talk about elections, uh, there is this term in democracy that is for the people, by the people, of the people. Foundation is the electoral process is about people choosing their representative, right? Please bear in mind the entire concept of elections or electoral process goes almost as far as mankind does. Please bear in mind, elections were elections were held even when such fancy technology was not there, and there's a reason for that. So be very careful how we use technology, right? Because this is an area where we cannot afford to go wrong, right? For instance, I always give these two examples. Why are industries like, say, healthcare and BFS, banking for that matter, so heavily regulated? Because any errors in those two areas can be very, very fatal. And here we're talking about nation interests. And I think when we talk about electoral process, it is as important as how we see, say, a healthcare sector or a banking sector, if not more. So while yes, there have to be process in place, regulation in place, but what is also need to be understood is who sets up these regulations. What if, I'm just giving a hypothetical scenario, what if tomorrow the government that is in power tries to integrate a certain technology which would help it to keep it remain in power permanently? So like I said, I'm not saying that I have all the solutions to all these, but I'm just trying to open your horizon and make you understand what are some of the things that probably we need to look into, right? But as you know, as a nation, we continue to grow in terms of numbers, right? The number of people who voted last year vis-a-vis the number of people who will vote this year, the question will be, it's always going to be. So yes, technology will have a role to play in making this process seamless, but it's a delicate balance. What it offers in terms of the advantages should not be offset by the risks that are involved. Right? So all I'd like to end my note on this is, voting is your fundamental right, right? Go ahead, do your bit, choose the political leader or party that you feel does justice to your vote. It's a fundamental right. Do your bit. Having said, I just remember watching a movie a few years back. I'm sure many of you would have watched a movie called Newton, right? Where it showed the importance of conducting an election, where the electoral officer went all out to make sure the people at the furthest, most remote part of the country areas which were prone to a lot of risks and dangers, even for one particular vote, to make sure that person is able to cast their vote. I'm an eternal optimist. I like to believe there is still a lot of power in your vote, and there are still many processes and checks and balances in place to make sure that this is done in the most fair possible manner. Had it not been this, we would have become a banana republic by now. So with this, I'll probably conclude today's session. I wish you all the very best for the week ahead. Bye for now.